All right, so welcome to another one for Al Cuerpo Boxing, which means to the body. So let's get with it. Let's talk some boxing. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on at the light heavyweight division. We're going to focus on cruiserweight, actually, because cruiserweight, as I've been saying for quite some time, it's about to heat up, particularly next year, maybe the end of this year. Of course, the context is depending on what's going to happen between uh, Beterbiev and Bivol, right? The final outcome to finish this trilogy. Where do we start, man? Where do we start? So most of you guys know, and I've already touched on this just yet because it's been a fun week. Uh, some of us already kind of knew what was going to happen regarding the green belt, right? The WBC belt. Originally held by Dmitry Bivol with his rematch win against Beterbiev, right? So now that that belt has gone from the series, right, as far as marketing purposes, you could say, technically speaking, that the fight has been devalued, or that the trilogy, the finalization, has been devalued. So many of you may not really think it or focus on it, but think about Bivol's state of mind. Beterbiev's state of mind, right? They're now fighting for three belts. They're not fighting for the same circumstances like in their last two bouts, right? Because we know that it was 1-1. Beterbiev, didn't want to shake Bivol's hand at the end of the rematch, saying, I'll shake your hand. I'll acknowledge the final result because Beterbiev knew he won the first one, and he knew that if he lost the second one, well, that they would finalize the rubber match, right? The trilogy. And it's even a shame that we call it a rubber match because, I mean, we're talking about pound for pound guys, right? This trilogy, Beterbiev and Bivol, are genuine, bona fide pound for pound fighters. Former new champs, former undisputed, new undisputed. We're talking about pound for pound elites to finalize their drama, right? As what we called the last crescendo, right? Between Beterbiev and Bivol. So a lot of fans, for us real boxing fans that respect Russian boxing in general, because really this is a Russian a Russian boxing Godfather series, if you will, right? Ultra elite level Russian school of boxing in what was Beterbiev and Bivol. And I like to stress and express that this would have been, and it probably will be, the fastest trilogy ever done in history between an undisputed rivalry, right? Back to back, neck to neck. Ironically, Riyadh season, right? This whole Saudi Arabian sports washing was hyped up in that we wanted to see the best fights, right? We don't want to wait for the best fights in boxing. It was Riyadh season, right? So, with that being said, the same fans that are now saying, well, we don't need a trilogy, were the same fans that, well, we don't need to finalize the trilogy so fast. We're the same fans that were saying, oh, what great that Riyadh season is here, right? To finalize this trilogy. Anyways, I'm probably confusing myself here too because there's a lot of contradictions back and forward. But this would have been the first time in history that we finalized a genuine pound for pound, undisputed drama clash between Russian boxing, Artur Beterbiev, and Dmitry Bivol. So with those circumstances already said, we must respect that. We should respect that. Any real boxing fan knows this. All right. That Russian school of boxing that is this trilogy is the real deal. And if you want to see elite level boxing, that's what we're gonna see in this finalizing trilogy. Okay, so again, now that the WBC belt is out, all right, in essence, it's been devalued. But here's the kicker, right? That in some fans' minds, the way that the WBC belt was stolen from that series of marketing, it could be that Bivol and Beterbiev are still fighting for undisputed. Some fans could argue that, and they have a right to argue that because, I mean, the belt was just taken away, right? It wasn't fought for. It wasn't relinquished from a fight, an actual fight, right? And some fans want to make fun of the email belt champion status, but realistically, that was also happening at 147, right? All the welterweight champions, in theory, are email champs. Are email champs, and how they were elevated also. So it's not even so much to make fun of that moniker. It's just, it's sad that we can't appreciate in finalizing a trilogy in less than 12 months, or let's say within a year or so. Okay, so that's that, guys. So I'll go to the second part. Okay, let's say Beterbiev beats Bivol. Okay, in the trilogy. Don't worry, we'll get to the Bivol beating Beterbiev. But let's say Beterbiev beats Bivol. Boom, it's 2-1. Beterbiev proved that he did the right adjustments as he did it in the second fight, right? Being all nice and happy in the press conferences, taking Bivol lightly. Hey, man, that's the consequence, right? Don't take your opponent lightly. Well, whatever. So we have the trilogy. Let's say Beterbiev beats Bivol. He had to endure beating Bivol the third time without the green belt. So in Beterbiev's mind, and you can also apply this to Bivol, right? But to Beterbiev's mind, why do I need to fight Benavidez when, because of politics, they took that belt, right? So in Beterbiev's mind, he beat the guy, right, the top dog, Bivol, right? Keep in mind, at light heavyweight, Bivol and Beterbiev were the top dogs. All right, so he beats Bivol. He finalizes the series. What's next for him? What we do know is that Riyadh season and interviews and journalists, they've been instigating the idea of cruiserweight. Even Opataya has been asked that question. Surdo has been asked the question of let's say Bivol. All these fighters, what they have in common is they've welcomed the idea. Okay, but you got to respect at the division that they're in. What I mean is, like, Opataya likes these ideas, but Opataya is focused at cruiserweight, right? As he should. He's the champion at cruiserweight. Same thing with Surdo Ramirez. All these names that are being thrown, but at cruiserweight. Okay, so we get that. So, but what we do know also is that Bivol and Beterbiev have entertained the idea to go to cruiserweight. Now, guys, before you guys get all like confused, oh my God, but it's cruiserweight. Why do they got to go up? Relax, man, relax. Don't forget, guys. Don't get soft, man. Let's go backwards, man. Canelo wanted Makabu at cruiserweight, right? Fans were saying, "Ah, Canelo is fighting the easiest champion at cruiserweight, right?" At that time, I believe it was Usyk was the guy at cruiserweight, right? But they were saying, "Ah, Canelo's cherry picking Makabu." When fans were already acknowledging a jump from super middleweight to cruiser, as Canelo did from 160 middleweight to fight Kovalev, right? So fans forget, they completely forget about weight jumping, yo-yo weights, jumping, and they're more focused on the names than the than the realism of how hard it is to even still go up in weight. You guys forget about that, right? So in other words, oh, why is Canelo asking for Makabu when he should be asking for Usyk? Oh, okay, whatever, guys. It's still cruiserweight. What am I getting at? Badu Jack was 168. Surdo Ramirez was 168. Cadam Smith was 168. Everybody is going upwards, northbound, guys. Don't forget that, man. Please don't get soft and saying, "Oh my gosh, Beterbiev and Bivol have to go to." Yeah, relax, guys. Again, Surdo, Cadam Smith, Badu Jack were already at 168. Whereas Bivol and Beterbiev were bona fide 175 guys at the start, at the get-go. So relax, don't get soft. Yeah, they can compete at cruiserweight, guys. No problem. Don't worry, relax. Okay? As a matter of fact, and I'll get to the point about Beterbiev beating Bivol in this trilogy, right? So, who can dethrone Badu Jack easily in my mind? I would say Bivol and Beterbiev, right? So it would make sense for Beterbiev to go after Badu's Jack's green strap, right? He already, let's say he beat Bivol, even if he loses to Bivol, it makes more sense. It makes better resume accomplishments to go up in weight, tend to entertain the idea of giving Amazon Prime leverage or PBC leverage, the idea that they need to fight Benavidez. Doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't work that way. There's more benefit going northbound. The guys at cruiserweight are bigger. Okay? Badu Jack is not bigger than Benavidez, or if they're even, okay, whatever. But Badu Jack has been winning belts going northbound, all right? So on paper, Better be fighting Badu Jack for his green belt and knocking him out is a better accomplishment on his resume, right? Being a two-weight division champion, former undisputed, going up to Badu Jack is a better option than entertaining business with the PBC. All right? Stay with me. It doesn't mean I'm hating on the PBC. We don't even need to go that theme yet. We can entertain that, but that's a different thing. All right. So now we got Better Biev, WBC Cruiserweight Champion, with the option to unify with Opataya. Opataya, even there's interviews where he entertained that idea with a fight with Better Biev or Bivol. Now we got unification options between Better Biev, Opataya, or Sudo Ramirez. Surdo Ramirez, who lost to Bivol. Better Biev like, I'll take on Surdo. Let me see how that fight will go, right? So all these guys are thinking like that. So now let's go with Bivol. Bivol 2. Let's say he beats Better Biev. All right. He's beat him 2-1. I already beat Surdo Ramirez. I already beat the top dog at 175. Why am I going to entertain business with the PBC when they took the belt from me? I proved that I'm undisputed. I proved that I beat the 90 plus KO ratio artist in Better Biev, right? It's better for my resume if I go up northbound, sorry, and fight Opataya, which he has said before he's open to that idea. Fight Better Biev up there also at Cruiserweight, assuming they all go up. Or I'll go and fight the guy I already beat, Surdo Ramirez, and I'll take his belts again at Cruiserweight, right? So there's a lot of options right now at Cruiserweight, all right? But the point is, guys, don't let what they call what do you call it? Smoke screens. Don't let that cloud your judgment in better matchmaking on paper and literally better risk taking when you go up northbound than to focus on the propaganda that the PBC is doing with exploiting Benavides's brand power. Okay, and I already mentioned this in my Spanish version of it, but I honestly think that Benavides, because we don't really know what's going on with the contracts between Benavides and the PBC, the exclusivity. We don't know. But what we do know is Oscar's been in the game. Oscar's been in the game for years, right? He's got the experience. He's got the pedigree. He's intelligent. He was probably telling David, hey, man, check it out. Why don't you come here and fight on the zone? Fight in Riyadh. The money's real, man. Come over. I got you. No problem. I'll get you Surdo. I'll get you Beck the Bully too. We can make these fights. The money's good. All right. But Oscar's like hinting, yo, but you got to let me know what's up with the PBC deal. Like, what can you do? What can't you do? And in that time, when you saw pictures of Oscar and Benavides, it could be that Benavides was undecided where to go. So we could talk about things openly. And Benavides probably liked the idea of making big bucks over in Saudi Arabia, right? But maybe, coming back, getting the advisory from the PBC, maybe Benavides told Heyman, yo, this is what Oscar was telling me. I like these options. What do you got to offer me if I stay with you at the PBC? And so that's why PBC have to restructure their strategy in keeping Benavides, right? And saying, hey, look, we've got better things cooking up with Amazon Prime. We're going to do business with Top Rank. We have some better fights in the future. Don't worry. You don't got to leave. We'll secure you some big money bags, but you got to stay here. Maybe David's thinking, okay, that's some good options, but you got to pay me good money, right? Or it's even possible that, hey man, Spence said it himself, right? Spence once upon a time said, yeah, I could take the easier fights. Why do I gotta go the hard route, right? I can go the easy route, get these fights. Benavides might be thinking the same thing because he saw it with Spence. Okay? Who knows? Maybe the PBC are saying, yo, Amazon Prime is gonna front this. I mean, who knows what he's being told, man, to really stay at the PBC. But I feel bad. I honestly think, guys, man, I think that Benavides, they probably want out of PBC. I can envision this, man, in the future that Benavides and Canelo in the gym, they're all laughing at things in the future, really. I honestly believe that. But there are just some things, some promises, a bit of loyalty that the Benavides family, they really can't knock on the PBC for everything they've given them. We get that. That's the gray area right now. But I honestly believe because the Benavides family, they've been trying to get out of deals before. We've seen it before. I think the Benavides family would prefer big money fights out in Saudi Arabia, but because of their contracts and because they haven't been saying a lot of noise as of late, I think they know what's up. They kind of like they know their situation. They're maybe regretting it a bit, but it is what it is, right? So now Benavidez, their team, they know they got the green belt. They're gonna make fights on Amazon Prime. They got Tank Davis. They can do combined cards. Top Rank is coming. Okay, at least they could stay busy at least for another year, and the Benavidez family can rethink on what they must endure with the PBC. Sorry, spitting here. Endure with the PBC until better options come in the future. But make no mistake, David Benavidez himself said, "Hey, if I can't get the Bibble fight, I'll go and fight Zurdo." Why would he say that? I always ask this question to the fans because I like to challenge real Benavidez fans. Why would David Benavidez mention Zurdo Ramirez? What's the benefit in that? Now the problem is when fans say, "Oh, well, fighters can change their mind." You don't want to say that. Don't say that because then you're acknowledging cloud chasing. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Believe that Zurdo is hungry for a good challenging fight at cruiser with Zurdo Ramirez. One, because if David beats Zurdo, he also beats the guy that Bivo beat, right? So it's good notoriety. It's a good way to build fights. So keep it there, man. Canelo called out a cruiserweight, Makabu, right? He entertained the idea even of an Usyk fight. Whatever. You can make fun of it or whatever, but he mentioned it. That's the point. It came out of their words, all right? Bivol acknowledged cruiserweight. Beterbiev acknowledged cruiserweight. Benavidez acknowledged cruiserweight. Let's keep it 100, man. Don't be soft and say, why do they need to move up or it's too much of a weight jump. You don't know your boxer. You're not focused on the facts, the circumstances, okay? If a little Willow Canelo can mention cruiserweight for Makabu, trust me, all the other guys can mention cruiserweight. It's fine, man. Don't get soft. So where are we right now? I just told you all these fights. We got good options also at cruiserweight, right? I would love to see unifications between Zurdo Ramirez and Opataya, even Badu Jack, right? Imagine that, man. Opataya versus Badu Jack, and then boom, we can finalize Zurdo and Opataya for undisputed at cruiserweight. That's one option. But depending on how smart the chess moves are, better be even Bivo, they might step their foot in there because they're being told to. Also, by the way, they're being told to make bigger fights, to make Riyadh season better fights, to sell more fights. We get it. I would say Better Beef should go for Badu Jack's belt. Hell, Badu Jack's on Canelo's undercard. Canelo can go fight Badu Jack. Doesn't matter if it's the easiest champion at cruiserweight, right? I'm telling you guys, when all these guys mention cruiserweight, when all these guys mention it, but they're not specific on names, then Canelo can do it too, right? Because, for example, Benavidez could mention Zurdo Ramirez, right? Bivol beats Zurdo Ramirez. So in theory, those guys can fight Zurdo, right? So you would want Canelo to also call out Zurdo, right? At any rate, it's all cruiserweight. It doesn't matter, right? Canelo fights Badu Jack. You would expect Canelo to want to unify at cruiserweight, right? That's where you can hold Canelo to. And that's fine too. If you want to put the heat on Canelo at cruiserweight, he beats Badu Jack, but he doesn't unify, or better be if comes up the ranks, right? Canelo got to see these guys. That's fine. Then we could say that Canelo's probably avoiding even bigger and harder fights at cruiser, right? He already hit his cap. Guys are saying that Canelo doesn't deserve to be at 175 because he lost to Bivol, right? But ironically, he already fought Bivol. He fought Bivol in a good fight, even though he lost a lot of those rounds. But he took the risk, right? The little guy was walking Bivol forward. What super middleweight is doing that? Only elite level guys can do that. Proven champions can do those things. So, anyways, whatever. Look at the mix. Look at the mix of names. These are all good fights. Hopefully, Benavidez can maybe reconsider. Reconsider, my man. Please reconsider. Go to Riyadh. There are better fights for you there. Better generational wealth for you and your family. And I honestly think that Benavidez, they're good guys. Realistically, they're just kind of, in my opinion, they're brainwashed by the PBC. They're controlled. You know, I think maybe even as I said before, maybe they're spooked a bit with the sports washing. With tax evasion strategies. non-disclosed bags, right? Because it's over in Saudi Arabia. Maybe Benavides they don't want to deal with that. Maybe they've been advised and influenced to not deal with that. They could say, "Hey, yo, David, don't do those things because word on the street, the FBI, the RAS, the IRS, they're we know some things. Don't do it. They could be saying stuff like that. So that's what it is right now in boxing. Again, I'll finish this. I'm saying, why would why would all the affiliates at Riyadh season entertain doing business with PBC after taking that green strap? And I'm specifically talking about the names at 175. Why would Bivol and Beterbiev entertain business? The idea with PBC, knowing that PBC devalued their series by taking that green belt, right? Beterbiev and Bivol, they have fought hard hitters, man. If you want to go even all the way back to Gene Pascal or Joe Smith, guys like Sullivan Barrera, Cadam Smith, and Anthony Yard. I mean, these are legit power punchers at 175. I don't really think David Benavidez is a threat to them. If you want to go off a point theory, yeah, maybe. But again, guys, Beterbiev and Bivol are legit pound for pound badasses at 175. They are proven champions at 175. Let me repeat that, guys. Bivol and Beterbiev are proven champions at 175. Proven champions at 175. Why do they need to entertain the idea to give business to the PBC when the PBC took the belt from their series? Are you guys getting it? It's not that Bivol or Beterbiev are ducking Benavides. It's more like Benavides and Bivol, they can troll the idea of not giving business to the PBC because for what they did, that extortion scheme. These words that I was using before anybody else, I was using these words. And now fans are catching up. I like to keep it 100 transparent, man, down the middle. Got no favoritism in this stuff, man. I've been saying it in videos and before everybody, man. All right, cool. If out of Benavides' own mouth, if he can't get Bivol, go and fight Zurdo. That's a badass fight. That's a 50-50 fight. If fans believe that Bivol can beat Zurdo again at Cruiser, right? He already beat him. 117, 111, 118, and 110, right? If Bivol is proven to do that with Zurdo, style-wise, he could do it again with at Cruiserweight. Why can't Benavides do it? If fans want to believe that Benavides can beat Bivol, well, then in theory, that leaves more weight in Benavides having a better shot at beating Zurdo at Cruiser, right? Come on, guys, keep it 100. Keep it 100 with the styles, testimony, what fighters are saying. This is good for boxing. There are fans that when you mention all these little facts and for the better of boxing, when you mention these things, they get defensive. Oh no, why do you want to see this fight? Like slow down. That's when the fanboyism comes. That's when you know there are real, genuine shillers for the PBC. That's why I always make fun of it. Yeah, yeah, yo, PBC only, PBC. Come on, guys. Do it for the fighters, man, not for the brand, for the promoters. I get guys to admit, I get all these PBC shillers to admit that they work for the fighter. Therefore, let's talk about what's the better option for the fighter, not better option for the PBC. You got fans saying, "Oh no, there's bigger fights for who versus Benavides in Vegas, pay-per-view." Like that's all fanboy talk, man. All right? It's what benefits the fighter. Bivol and Beterbiev, they've already seen the bright lights in Vegas. They've seen the bright lights. Bivol fought Canelo Alvarez. He's seen the bright lights. You don't got to say, well, Bivol needs to take Benavides. Guys, Canelo Alvarez is a bigger name than Benavides. Bivol's been there. Don't try to sell the idea and try to fool fans. That's not a knock on Benavides. I'm just saying, come on, don't fool the fans. I'll just end it with that, man. Speaking nothing but facts, full transparency, man. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one for Al Cuerpo Boxing, which means to the body. And I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.